Hi everyone, this is Kassie Kai, and these are the tarot horoscopes for the week of September 13 to September 19. Today we'll be using the Mystic Fairy Tarot. This is a very nice and romantic deck with lush gardens and spirits, fairy spirits, but you can also see the tarot symbolism clearly. And it comes with a booklet that you can use as a quick reference, especially if you have just started learning tarot. But let's see what kind of energies we will experience this week. We are starting with Aries and the Ten of Wands. The Ten of Wands suggests that you will find yourself under some stress or pressure this week, as this 10 indicates that there's a situation that's been building up for a while now, and you have now reached the end game, but things are not clear yet. In fact, things are very stressful actually, as there are too many energies involved, maybe too many people, and that makes things complicated, intense. We also see the involvement of other people. That means you may not respond very efficiently under this stress, especially if this has been going on for many weeks without resolution. But the good news is that you are at the final stage now, and very soon, within a matter of 10 days or so, you will see that things will start falling into place eventually. However, until that happens, there will be a tendency to rush things, to get things done, but in a forceful way, very forcefully in some cases. And that's because you are now getting exhausted and you want the situation, whatever it is, to end. Even if things are confusing and unclear, one thing you can do is to try and delegate responsibilities if you can. So if you're thinking of taking on more responsibilities than you already have, please know that's not a good idea at the moment, because you actually need to offload now and not to accumulate further burdens. Last week you had the King of Pentacles, and that was a supportive presence around you, which seems to be there still. So if you reach out for help, I'm sure that help will be given. Don't forget that tens are associated with the Wheel of Fortune. The Wheel of Fortune has the number 10, and they represent when the wheel starts turning again, releasing stale energies and welcoming fresh energies and vibes. If there's a significant project or event that you are planning for the end of the year, if these days you are making preparations for it or you are organizing it in some way, the best days to have it or to go ahead with this plan will be between 13 and 20 December. For Taurus, we have the Queen of Wands. This will be a week of very positive energies. Things you had difficulty doing or completing in the previous weeks now will be done with more ease, and it's as if you will know exactly which steps to take and what the best course of action is. There will probably be a female energy around you, maybe a fire sign like Aries or Leo or Sagittarius. That woman will inspire you, will give you very valuable advice, or she will just show you how something's done. And that may not necessarily be a practical thing or practical knowledge. It could be, for instance, a good advice about how to act in a relationship. Action is always involved with this card. So if things have been slow or stagnant, or you felt that you were stuck, now energies change in a very radical way. And what felt like not moving before, now will start moving, maybe a little faster than you anticipated or thought. And you had the Two of Wands last week, which must have caused some indecisiveness, uncertainty or confusion. But now, under the energy of this Queen, you will feel like getting up and taking action, especially since, like I said, you will have an ally, someone who's supporting you with their actions. Queens have a broader perspective And when they appear in a reading, the message is that you will now easily or more easily see the bigger picture in a situation. Events that happen between 11 March and 10 April may come into focus again, or there may be some sort of continuation of energies, events, trends that happened around the time. And it's possible that someone you were dealing with during that time period will resurface or will require your attention in some way. It's good that from last week's Two of Wands, you now have this Queen. And I'm saying that because there are actually 9 cards between the Two and the Queen of Wands. And that means you may be able to skip some steps, some stages in the process, and get what you want faster. For Gemini, we have the Four of Swords. You may feel like giving something up this week, especially if you felt very burdened in the last few days, feeling that things were going nowhere and you tried, and now you decide to take a break from it all and take a rest from the pressure and try to see things from a different angle, and that's actually a very good idea, as that will give you a new perspective. By relaxing and taking a break, you will open yourself up energetically, emotionally, to receiving new insights, to see things differently. If you or someone around you is dealing with a health issue, expect that this week things will start getting better. Much rest is needed, and you may feel that energy is rather low, rather limited, as that's a card of low energy anyway, very low vibration, but it's also a card of healing and recuperation. Healing happens at lower vibrations. It's good to use this energy for rejuvenation. Make sure you get lots of rest. You may decide to explore new methods of raising your energy spiritually and emotionally, and around Thursday you will start feeling much better. You will feel that your energy is coming back. Also, if you have trouble sleeping, I expect that you will improve. Last week you had the Three of Pentacles, and if you think about it, fours come after threes. So even if you feel a little disappointed that last week you made more progress and now things appear to slow down, that's not exactly that way. Energies may indeed be slower and more passive, but that's because a stage has been completed and you are now taking a break, before you start the next chapter. Next month will be very busy, and you can expect some serious developments between 13 and 22 October. The card for Cancer is the Nine of Pentacles. The Nine of Pentacles foretells a very busy week when it comes to practical matters, and something you've been working on will come to fruition this week. You may get money you've been expecting or money that has been owed to you, and you may even decide to make a gift to yourself, even a big gift, like something you've wanted for a while now, but you didn't have the money to buy it, or you couldn't afford it. But it appears that energies are changing and you will see a big improvement financially and professionally, and there might be a matter of property that will require your attention too. You will be very satisfied with your progress, and you will also receive praise. You will feel that you are on the right track, that you have taken the right path, and evidence of that will be that life is responding in such a way as if it's mirroring your actions in a positive way. And last week's communications, we had the Queen of Swords then, seem to have produced satisfactory results, and they seem to play a role in this week's success. So what discussions, conversations you had last week, and between now and the full moon, will produce positive results that will lead to progress that you may not even expect, not just in professional matters, but also in relationships, as it appears that your status is about to change. Pentacles are earth cards that suggest stability in long-lasting situations, and last week you had the Queen of Swords, like I said, an air card, and you may have literally felt as if many things were up in the air. But now matters are brought down to earth again, and it's not just decisions you will make, but those decisions will be followed by actions too. So observe what's happening until the next lunation, the next full moon, and you will be able to see how energies and new trends are forming so that you respond accordingly. When you get an Earth card, there might be a tendency to be stubborn or slow-moving. So yes, try to stand your ground, but at the same time remain open and flexible. For Leo, we have the Four of Wands. This will be a week when a stage is being completed. Maybe you started a project or a new relationship and you went up to a point where you found difficulties, but now you are going to find common ground or a common course. Because this force shows that other people will be involved in your affairs in a positive way and will somehow influence your decisions. You will have to coordinate your actions, to synchronize your actions and your needs so that one stage is being completed in the best possible way. And then you can relax and take a break for a few days, especially around the middle of this week, and you look back at your progress and what you've done so far. And it's possible that you will want to celebrate, or you may be invited in a celebration, a ceremony, a social event that celebrates an achievement in which you may or may not be involved. But if you are not, someone close to you is. If you've been dealing with relationship concerns, it appears that you are reaching an agreement about the next stage. So maybe you're moving in together or you're getting engaged. And last week we had the Justice, and there was this need to balance a situation, and you might have experienced some difficult energies, especially when it came to communications and how you expressed your thoughts. There was this need to find common ground, and it appears that this week things are taking a new shape and form, which is a good thing. But keep things cool, because there might be a tendency to overreact. The Four of Wands is Venus in Aries, which means that in relationships we may come across as too demanding, too aggressive even, and that needs to be moderated somehow, to be kept under control. See if you remember what happened between 11 and 20 April, because events of that time seem to be related to the current energies, and you may be able to connect the dots and see the bigger picture of the energies that play out now. The King of Pentacles came up for Virgo. Practical matters will be your focus this week, in relationships too. Maybe you're discussing about a plan to buy a house or to buy property, for instance, with your partner or another male. As a male seems to be involved here, probably a male of an earth sign, Virgo, Capricorn, Taurus. And since we had the Hierophant last week, which too represents an earth sign, it's possible that we are looking at the same person or the same energy. There seems to be a very strong presence, a very strong influence in your life. And the fact that this person is an earth sign means that you are on the same wavelength, as you too are an earth sign, and you understand this energy very well. You speak the same language, so to speak, and you are grounded, practical, and methodical. Just make sure that since you are both almost obsessed with the details of a project or a relationship, that you don't miss the woods for the trees, missing the full picture, while you are considering only a few parts of a situation. Examine the details if it's about your relationship or a plan, but don't deviate too much from your initial goal, as you may get lost in the details. For example, if you're facing relationship problems and instead of going deep and finding the root causes of your differences, you argue about petty things that drain your energy. If something important has happened between 11 April to 10 May, It's possible that this event or experience that happened around that time will influence your present situation somehow, or now there might be progress in matters that were blocked around that time. For Libra, we have the Ten of Swords. Appears we have some difficult and very intense energies this week, Libra, as there's an ongoing issue that's not resolved yet. Maybe there have been ups and downs, and one day you feel more optimistic, even if the problem is still there, not resolved. The next you feel very disappointed and pessimistic. There are too many thoughts, rampant thinking that may not allow you to sleep well at night. Or there may be arguments, conflicts with another or a group of people. Tens show the involvement of many people usually, so probably there are more persons that play a role here. And this 10 has to do with communications primarily. So for instance, you said something to someone and they told another but in a different way than what you meant, and a misunderstanding might have happened, a misinterpretation of your words. The good news is that tens are the end game, the final stages, and there's no more. So very soon this challenge is over, which is confirmed by the previous week's card, the Eight of Swords, that basically meant that then you were still in the process, but you won't be dealing with this issue for more than a few more days. And then one way or another it will be resolved. The way it will be resolved may not be that you come necessarily to an agreement with the others involved, but maybe you will decide to agree to disagree, so to speak, and move on and start a new stage with them or without them, and start communicating in a very different way that will allow you to put things on a new basis. Scorpio has the Lovers for this week, a good card for relationships, love, connections in general. This week, personal relationships, probably romantic, will be in the foreground. You and your partner will have to make a decision probably, or you will have to make a decision about your partner or the person you're interested in. Logic may not be your first choice at this stage. You are probably making your feelings a priority. The Lovers is a card of balance, so make sure that whatever you decide provides a solid and fair base for you to build upon. If you're getting the short end of the stick in a relationship, this is the time to try and balance the situation so that it's more fair and mutually satisfying and beneficial. Otherwise, you won't be able to continue for much longer in an unbalanced situation. The last week we had the Page of Cups, which is a love card as well. But the Lovers is a much more mature, intimate situation. The Page of Cups is the first stages of a relationship, when you first meet a love interest, a potential lover. But the Lovers is a full-on relationship, and it appears that the connection in your life is heading that way, towards maturity. It's very possible you will feel a soulmate connection with someone. And that could be any type of relationship. It could be friendship or a professional relationship, as we have many kinds of soulmates. But in any case, you will feel something very special, as if you know someone very deeply, very intimately. Be a little careful. If someone is not treating you the way you deserve to be treated, you should not justify or tolerate bad behavior in the name of a soulmate connection. And that's the energy of the Lovers actually. It's to learn to discriminate, to choose, and to decide who's worthy of your love and attention and who's not. For Sagittarius, the card is the Three of Pentacles. You will feel very happy this week to see that you are coming together with a group of people that will help you achieve a goal. You will work together synergistically. Everyone will be contributing something unique, and that's why the result will be very unique too. And that's great news, especially after the 7 of Wands you had last week, which showed that people worked at cross purposes, and your plans must have met strong resistance. Now the energies seem to shift, to change in a very different and beneficial direction, as the 7 of Wands did foretell that the change would take place in 7 days' time. If you have a professional matter in mind, there will be a team that will work on a certain task and will see it through very successfully, very efficiently. Also, if you were in some sort of dilemma before, now there appears to arise a third element, a third option maybe, that you haven't thought of before or that didn't show up before, but now it's making its presence felt, and that could help you leave the dilemma behind, as the picture is now changing and what you saw a week before is now shifting in a way that might not have anticipated. It's possible you will be making plans with another person or with 2 other persons for the end of the year, and the plans you are making now, expect that they will fully manifest around end December, beginning of January. But in order to get the best results in professional or personal relationships, you need to keep in mind that it's most important that you follow what works for you too, not for others only. For Capricorn, we have the Page of Cups. You may be dealing with a young person whose energy is very intense, very emotional, and maybe they make you feel like a child again, which is good. Expect that you will have some very pleasant moments this week, probably romantic moments, or if this page represents a child, because pages are the children in tarot, expect that you will connect with this young person in a very pleasant way. Also, you may receive news about pregnancy, or you may start planning pregnancy. The Page of Cups is very fresh energy, very new, very enthusiastic, especially when it comes to feelings, emotional situations, and relationships. So you may decide to start with a clean slate when it comes to a relationship, to put the past behind, to put your differences aside, and to connect in a new way, which was more or less predicted by the card you had last week, which was the Star, that showed you are entering a more positive phase in how you feel primarily, in how you see the future, because the Star represents the future, and you see it with more hope and more optimism. And now this page confirms that the universe is opening new doors for you. It's showing you how things can be done in new ways that are more aligned with your vibration. And also this card reminds you that if you love something or someone, you give them a space to be. As love is the opposite of fear, which is resistance. The more you truly love something or someone, the more you are able not to resist it being the way it is. And giving space liberates you too. That includes yourself. So this week, try to exercise some self-love and give yourself a space to be without feeling pressured by shoulds or shouldn'ts. For Aquarius, we had the Empress. That's a week of abundance and growth. Maybe there was something missing from your life in the previous weeks and you felt a void, a loss. And it makes sense because last week we had the Nine of Swords, not an easy card at all, as all kinds of issues and obstacles can be described by this nine. But it appears that this week will come to compensate you for that, as it seems that a new element is coming into your life. The Empress has the number 3 in Major Arcana, and is connected to threes that show growth and a new element, an additional element that comes into play. So you will feel whole again, like what was missing is somehow replaced. If you lost a relationship, it's possible you will meet a new person. If you lost a job, that too can be replaced this week. The Empress is very good for property matters, so property matters may require your attention. If you are thinking to buy a house or to rent, There will be developments this week. The Empress is associated with Venus, and the astrology of these days says that Venus is in Scorpio, great intensity in relationships, sexual relationships. This will be a very strong week for you when it comes to intimate and romantic connections. And make sure that you are taking advantage of the good vibes to get what you want, to get closer together with someone special, to connect with them in a way that maybe wasn't possible before, or you weren't feeling confident enough to take a decisive step. Now, under the energy of this card, you will feel more confident and you will see that others are attracted to you and chase after you. So charge your aura with positive energy and think of what it is that you want to attract in your life. Finally, for Pisces, we have the Ace of Pentacles. You may receive a gift this week, something tangible, solid, and it feels that the door is opening for you, and something is coming out of that door, an offer. Someone may be offering you something. This is a very practical and down-to-earth energy, so if you felt a little too sentimental, too emotional last week, which you must have felt as you had the Page of Cups last week, expect that to change this week and you will feel more grounded, more practical, more methodical, more in tune with your practical needs. And it's interesting because the Ace of Pentacles is a card of new beginnings, and so was the Page of Cups we got in our previous predictions. And that means that life keeps giving you opportunities, keeps showing you options. And it seems that's a new stage in your life, a new chapter that will allow you to make things differently and in a way that will bring you closer to where you want to go or who you want to be with. Now, if something's not feeling comfortable and you feel that you can't handle it emotionally at this stage, then it may not be the right thing to do and you got to re-examine. You will begin to feel the positivity really flowing, the balance is here, and you've made it through some very tough times. You will start to see doors opening, and yes, these are all wonderful things, but you must use the conversations you've had and your current ideas and really make something of it. The Ace of Pentacles and Pentacles in general is what you have to have. It's very 3D, very physical world. Continue your growth, have a plan of attack, structure your goals, and make it happen. Pick and choose. Opportunities will arise. Which one is the right for you though? That's something you'll have to decide for you. Just because you are offered something does not mean that you must accept it. Inspect what's being presented to you, ground yourself, and use the knowledge you gained in the previous months. So these were the tarot scopes for the week of September 13 to September 19. I hope you enjoyed them and see you next week.